Last Dawn Stories tip: the term 985 universities refers to China's elite group of top-tier higher education institutions. My neighbor took a liking to my 985 license plate and begged me to drive her daughter to school during the 3 days of the national college entrance exams, hoping it would bring good luck. As I hesitated, bullet comments suddenly appeared before my eyes. Here comes the gullible female protagonist. The neighbor is such a lazy woman, clearly didn't want to wake up early herself and dumped the task of escorting her kid to the exam on the female lead. Her daughter's no better. Right before the college entrance exams, she stayed up chatting online until 2 or 3 a.m. every night. On the second day of exams, she had a sudden heart attack in the female lead's car. If the female lead hadn't run 6 red lights to rush her to the hospital, she'd have been done for, instead of being grateful. The whole family resented the female lead for meddling and ruining their daughter's bright future at a top-tier university, so much so that they set her on fire. This made my blood boil. Thank goodness the female lead got a second chance after rebirth. I was so startled that I immediately refused. Sorry, I have to work, I don't have time. The neighbor's expression changed. The scariest part is the neighbor's husband, who's like a super masculine figure, in the end. He's the one who burns the female lead to death. Why did the female lead refuse? I've read this story twice. The female lead must not soften her heart again. She wants you to escort her daughter to the exam for 2 reasons. First, she wants to sleep in, and second, her daughter is too vain. She doesn't want to ride an electric scooter to the exam because she finds it embarrassing. I calmly finished reading the barrage of bullet comments popping up before my eyes and prepared to close the security door. My neighbor Song Hui reacted quickly, squeezing half her body into the room with dissatisfaction in her tone. Hey, let's discuss this again. If worst comes to worst, lend me your car for 3 days. I'll take my kid to the college entrance exams, and you can ride my electric bike to work. My electric bike was just bought last month. Be careful when you ride it, don't scratch or bump it, or you'll have to compensate me at the original price. I stared at her in disbelief. The world is vast, and nothing is too strange to happen. I've never seen someone so shameless before. She should really listen to the nonsense she's spouting. I said coldly, I won't lend it. Song Hui's face darkened with displeasure. How can you be so heartless? My daughter is a top student at her school. If she gets into Tsinghua or Peking University riding in your car might just go viral. You'd probably end up thanking us for the free publicity. You know what they say, a near neighbor is better than a distant relative. Since you're helping me today, we won't hesitate to return the favor if your family ever needs anything. The barrage is even more excited than I am. Bah, human kindness isn't wasted on idiots like you. Others offer snacks and fruits when asking for favors. Yet you've got nothing but your damn mouth, acting all righteous. Hilarious. Her daughter ranks dead last in the whole grade, and she actually believes those fake scores she's been fed. Crossing my arms, I rolled my eyes at the neighbor. Since your daughter is a top student, riding your little e-bike to the college entrance exam will still guarantee her admission to a top-tier university. I'll say it again, I'm not lending my car, and I won't be driving your daughter to the exam. If you don't leave now, I'm calling the property management. The neighbor, Song Hui, stomped her foot in frustration. Stop being so sarcastic with me. It's just a Mercedes worth over 300 yuan. If it weren't for your lucky license plate, who would even care to ride in it? Aren't you just jealous because your own education is from some mediocre second-tier college, while my daughter got into a 985 university? How despicable. Song Hui unleashed a torrent of words at me. And with a loud bang, she slammed the door shut and stormed out. Are you crazy? Seriously out of your mind? I bought my car 2 years ago and got lucky. When selecting the license plate, I drew ED 985, which is considered an auspicious number, because it symbolizes definitely getting into a 985 university. Over the past 2 years, many parents of high school students have brought their kids to take photos in front of my car. I can understand parents' hopes pinned on their children getting into prestigious schools. As Chinese people, many believe in these things, seeking good omens, so I've never said anything about it. If I hadn't seen those bullet comments earlier, I might have actually agreed to the neighbor's request and ended up dead at their hands. Not now, definitely not, with just over a month left until the college entrance exams. I was considering whether to drive back to my parents' place during those days to avoid being harassed by the neighbor again. Little did I know the barrage comments would continue. This neighbor really has no shame. The female lead already firmly rejected her, yet she still won't give up. How dare they embellish the story and post it in the property group? Speechless. Are they trying to manipulate public opinion and emotionally blackmail the female lead? The female lead is really out of luck to have such an idiot for a neighbor. My eyelid twitched, and I immediately opened the homeowners group chat, Building 74, Unit 405, crying hashtag can everyone please help persuade my neighbor, at everyone, Building 28, Unit 801, what's wrong, Building 45, Unit 501, what happened, sister song, Building 45, Unit 405. My daughter Xiaoxue is taking the college entrance exam in a few days. A neighbor's license plate happens to include 985, a prestigious university code, which I thought was a lucky sign. I wanted to ask if they could give her a ride to the exam venue on their way to work, just for good fortune, but when I politely discussed it with them, they flatly refused and even kicked me out, crying the Dragon Boat Festival is coming up soon. And I specially made a bag of meat-filled zongzi in advance to give to her, who knew she'd be so heartless. I thought I was being completely open with her, yet she turned against me over such a small request. Xiaoxue has always been diligent and serious. All she wanted was to take a car with license plate 985 to her college entrance exam. What's wrong with that? My husband works away from home, leaving just me and my daughter alone. Our neighbor is clearly trying to ruin my daughter's future. Unit 45. Room 405 is our neighbor Song Hui's home, while mine is room 406. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity. There are plenty of cars with 985 license plates nationwide. If every examinee could get into a 985 university just by riding one to take the college entrance exam. Wouldn't that be chaotic? Examinees wouldn't need to study hard anymore. Just have a car with a 985 license plate ready at home. Also, the day before yesterday, she did bring over a large bag of frozen zongzi early in the morning. At noon, I was too lazy to cook, so I boiled 2 and ate them. As a result, I had diarrhea 3 times within an hour. I couldn't hold on any longer this afternoon and went to the hospital emergency room. The doctor said I had food poisoning and advised me not to eat zongzi that's been frozen for too long. I'm afraid the ones given to me were last year's zombie zongzi. With the Dragon Boat Festival approaching, how can they make new batches without clearing out the old stock? I haven't even settled the medical bill with her yet, and she has the nerve to bring this up. The group chat instantly erupted. Some chimed in, saying the college entrance exam is the most important event in a child's life and shouldn't be taken lightly. Others advised against blindly following superstitions, emphasizing that a child's own abilities are what truly matter. Unit 501, Building 45, at Unit 506, Building 45, we're neighbors after all, since it's on your way to work anyway. Giving a ride won't kill you, don't be so cold-hearted. The resident of Unit 501, Building 45 is a stay-at-home mom named Song Hui. Living apart from her husband, she rents here alone while raising their child. No one knows exactly when the two became close, but they often sit together chatting on benches within the residential complex. I immediately replied tagging her, who said it's on my way. My company and the exam venue are in opposite directions, 10 kilometers apart, room 501, Building 45, then just wake up an hour earlier. It's not a big deal. Is your job more important than a child's college entrance exam? I was speechless. Suning Xue isn't even my child. Whether she takes the college entrance exam or not has nothing to do with me. No wonder these two could get along. Their self-righteous attitudes are exactly the same. Me, since you're so eager, why don't you do it yourself? 501 laughs it off. Who has time for that? My kid's only 4. I still have to take care of him. Plus, I don't even have a 985 license plate. Me, your kid's already in kindergarten. Just drop them off early. And I can sell you the license plate cheap. 501 fell silent. Auntie from apartment 908 next door sent a voice message in the group chat. Young people these days, all they talk about is money. No sense of human decency at all. Song Hui saw someone speaking up for her again and immediately put on an act. So the neighbor just wanted to ask me for money. Why didn't she say so earlier? I'd gladly pay her double the market rate for the ride. I tagged Auntie 908, absolutely. You're the epitome of human decency. I remember your son's e-bike license plate also has 985 on it. How about having your son jog to work and lending his e-bike to apartment 405 for 3 days? The aunt got anxious. No way. My son is already exhausted from work. He needs to sleep in a bit longer in the morning. See, these people are all talk and no action. When the property management posts about collecting fees in the group chat, everyone suddenly goes silent. But when there's gossip in the group, they all pop up to chime in, standing on moral high ground to criticize you. When it involves their own interests, they run faster than a rabbit. I continued tagging Song Hui. Why don't you spend some money to buy the electric bike license plate from 908 Son? I believe your daughter riding a small electric bike with a 985 license plate will breeze through the college entrance exam, getting into Tsinghua or Peking University effortlessly. Auntie 908 sent a voice message extending an invitation. Xiao Song, if you want to buy my family's electric bike license plate, that's fine too. 80,000 yuan, no bargaining. Later when you have a second child, you can keep sending your second kid to take the college entrance exam. Guaranteed your child will get into a good university. Song Hui remained silent for a long moment before gritting her teeth and saying, no need. Thank you, Auntie, I'm dying of laughter. Getting angry already, this isn't over yet. I went to the bedroom to take a photo of the emergency prescription the doctor gave me at the hospital the day before yesterday and send it to the group chat. Thanks to my kind neighbor for sending me the zombie rice dumplings. Ate them and got diarrhea immediately. Anyone constipated and in need, I'll deliver them right to your door. The group chat fell completely silent after that. I happily exited WeChat and ordered some fried chicken. I was happily munching away when someone tagged me in the homeowners group chat. I clicked in to look and, to my surprise, it was my husband Chen Mingjie. He had posted 2 messages in the group. One was tagging all members, we've come together by fate, so let's not ruin our harmony over trivial matters. The second one specifically tagged me, Su Yuan, did you eat a bomb today? What's with the aggressive attitude in the group? I couldn't believe my eyes. But when I clicked on that familiar profile picture, the WeChat name was indeed my husband's. Not only did he not stand up for me, but he also publicly criticized me in front of hundreds of people in the group chat. I was instantly furious and dialed his phone number. Chen Mingjie, are you out of your damn mind? Anyone with eyes can see it wasn't my fault. Who told you to at me in the group without even understanding the situation? The voice on the other end faltered. I sent it by accident. I meant to send it to you privately, I sneered. If it was meant for me privately, why tag me? I think you just wanted to embarrass me on purpose. Chen Mingjie dropped the act, his tone laced with exhaustion. Honey, it wasn't a big deal to begin with. Did you really have to make it public? It's just taking a girl to her college entrance exam. It won't take much of your time. What's the big deal? Didn't you just complain to me about regretting not studying hard enough in high school, which led to your lack of higher education and delayed promotion? Now you know how important the college entrance exam is, yet you're willing to gamble with a child's future. Put yourself in their shoes. If Sister Song's daughter fails to get into college because of this, wouldn't you feel responsible? I'm so angry I could laugh, and yet, it was him who vented to me about how the new boss, younger than him, took his promotion just because of a higher education background. I comforted him by saying I regretted not studying harder in high school to get into a 211 university. Is he taking my words out of context here? And now it's my fault that the neighbor's daughter couldn't get into a good university. What kind of robber's logic is this? And about the Zhongzi incident, you got sick from eating random things yourself. How can you blame others? You should apologize to them immediately. My temples were throbbing with anger. Get lost. If you care so much about that mother and daughter, then go be their husband and stepfather yourself. Divorce, you absolute moron. With a click, I ended the call. If I had to listen to one more word of his nonsense, I'd be fuming with rage. After a long while, there was still a suffocating feeling in my chest. The divorce wasn't just talk. This wasn't the first time Chen Mingjie had sided with outsiders. Several times while waiting for the elevator on the first floor, even though we were standing right in the middle where we could have entered, he stubbornly refused and pulled me aside to let the people behind us go first. I scolded him a bit, but he told me not to be so calculative and to be more willing to help others. Whenever conflicts arise with others outside, he always prioritizes their feelings. He even stepped forward to accuse me of being too domineering and insisted I should put myself in others' shoes. He considers himself an educator, so he should be more magnanimous. That's the virtue of humility and deference. As his wife, I too must practice humility and deference toward others. I used to think he had a gentle temperament, though perhaps a bit indecisive. Now, looking back, I realize he simply couldn't distinguish right from wrong. How could I have been so blind to fall for this piece of trash? At that moment, the barrage comments appeared again. The female lead cursed the wrong person. Her scumbag husband didn't want to be the neighbor's husband, but rather her son-in-law. Divorce is still the better choice. When I first read this novel, after the female lead died, the scumbag went live online to milk sympathy, profiting from her tragedy. he had a new lover within a month of her death. The new flame is the neighbor's daughter who missed her college entrance exams and is now working at a KTV. At 6 in the evening, Chen Mingjie arrived home from work, holding a bouquet of red roses. He looked sheepish. Honey, are you still mad? It's my fault. I should have considered things from your perspective. Are you joking about getting a divorce? You're overthinking it. Our neighbor's sister Song is married and over a decade older than me. How could anything possibly happen between us? Don't falsely accuse me. I stared at him quietly, feeling only that his face was repulsive and nauseating. The barrage comments had already told me everything. Half a year ago, on Su Ningxue's 18th birthday, she had a fight with her mother and ran away from home. At Song Hui's pleading, my husband and I went out together to help her look for the child. 4 hours later, my husband found Su Ningxue under a bridge near the neighborhood. The two exchanged contact information privately. They would chat ambiguously whenever they had the chance. Chen Mingjie, as a tutor teaching middle school students, would occasionally give Su Ningxue some guidance on her high school math. Although there was no substantial crossing of boundaries between them, they simply enjoyed the thrill of flirting right under my nose. Chen Mingjie sidled up to me, ready to shamelessly beg again when the doorbell rang. He went to answer the door. It was Song Hui and her daughter, carrying a bag of bananas. Song Hui's face was heavily powdered white, strikingly noticeable. Sorry to bother you, Xiao Chen. I brought my daughter here to discuss again about Xiao Su driving her to the exam site. Her daughter, Sun Ningxue, spoke softly. Brother, I apologize on behalf of my mom to Auntie Su. My mom has a straightforward personality. She only said those things in the homeowners group chat because she wanted me to get into a good university for my college entrance exams. If Auntie Su really doesn't want to, I won't insist on her giving me a ride. What a strong whiff of white lotus tea. She calls Chen Mingjie brother, but refers to me as Auntie. I immediately snorted coldly. Get out. My house doesn't welcome filthy things. Su Ningxue's eyes reddened, and she whispered an apology before turning away with her mother. Chen Mingjie urgently stopped them. Wait. If my wife won't take you to the exam hall, I will. Oh, but the car belongs to Aunt Su. She and I are husband and wife. The car is our shared marital property. She has no right to make decisions for me. Song Hui smiled smugly. Xiao Chen, you really have a kind heart. In this household, it's still the man who should have the final say. After some back and forth at the door, the neighbor insisted on leaving the bananas for me to nourish my health. Chen Mingjie stuffed the bananas into the neighbor's arms again, saying it was to supplement the child's vitamins. I was fed up. I grabbed a huge bouquet of roses and slammed it hard against the back of Chen Mingjie's neck. Chen Mingjie was startled and turned to look at me, his tone displeased. What's gotten into you now? I pointed at the three of them, my tone impatient. Stop arguing, all three of you get out. Chen Mingjie looked incredulous. Honey, this is our marital home. How can you kick me out? I said. Get this straight. This house is mine. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. I'm officially informing you now, we're getting divorced. I knew he was someone who valued his pride above all else, so humiliating him in front of outsiders was bound to make him furious. Sure enough, Chen Mingjie's face and neck turned red as he glared at me with a vicious expression. Su Yuan, how have you become so unreasonable? I've swallowed my pride to coax you. Don't be ungrateful. Song Hui chimed in from the side. Xiao Chen, you're just too soft-hearted, letting your wife walk all over you. Back in my hometown, with Xiao Su's temper, she'd get beaten 18 times a day. I shot her a sidelong glance. Then you must have been beaten quite often. How pitiful. Song Hui was left speechless, seeing the three of them still deadlocked and not ready to leave. I directly took out my phone to make a call. Hello, 911. Chen Mingjie immediately pulled the neighbor mother and daughter out. Before leaving, he didn't forget to leave me with harsh words. Divorce it is. Whoever backs out is a coward. Hearing you say that puts my mind at ease. That same night, I scheduled our divorce registration. Chen Mingjie received the text but didn't respond. The next day, Chen Mingjie still didn't reach out to me. Seems like he's giving me the silent treatment unilaterally. During that time, I ran into Song Hui in the elevator, and she was so smug. Xiao Su, must be tough being abandoned by your husband. Huh? I smiled and said, are you blind? Didn't you see I was the one who kicked him out? Song Hui sneered. So what? The house and car are all marital property anyway. Xiao Chen can take half. When the time comes, I'll just ask him directly to borrow the car. He's much easier to talk to than you. I looked at her as if she were an idiot. Ignorance is truly terrifying. You don't even know the law that premarital property can't be divided by the other half. Yet you dare to spout nonsense at me. That night, I sent Chen Mingjie a message, grandson, did you get the divorce registration text? Don't forget about the divorce appointment tomorrow. He replied instantly, I did the math. Our marital assets total 400, which happens to be about the value of your car. You keep the money, I'll take the car. You've calculated it quite thoroughly. There's no way I'll let him have his way. Sorry, but I really like that license plate. Final offer, 100. Or we'll just split the joint assets evenly as usual. Believe it or not, I can refuse to divorce and drag this out until you're exhausted. Up to you. Anyway, I've got time. At worst we'll sue. It's just a pity for Su Ningxue. She won't get to ride a Mercedes with a 985 license plate for this year's college entrance exam. Sure enough, Chen Mingjie backed down. The house is premarital property. It was always mine. He can't claim any share of it, besides the 400 yuan that belongs to me. Chen Mingjie somehow scraped together another 100 to transfer to me. We agreed the car would be transferred within the last 3 days of the divorce cooling-off period, so whatever happens in the car afterward won't be my problem. The barrage comments exclaimed, wow, the female lead seems like a completely different person, clear-headed, transferring ownership before divorce. Perfectly timed right before the college entrance exams. Even if someone dies in the car later, it won't be her fault. Can't wait to see that scumbag get what he deserves. 2 days before the college entrance exam, Chen Mingjie and I smoothly finalized our divorce at the Civil Affairs Bureau. A huge weight lifted from my heart. Next came the hunting hour for the four of us. The moment Chen Mingjie mentioned me in the group chat, the thought of divorce had already crossed my mind. Chen Mingjie's actions after my death, spoiled by barrage comments, were added to the mix. It only strengthened my resolve to make them reap what they've sown. The first day of the college entrance exams passed uneventfully, except for the photo I scrolled past on social media of my neighbor Song Hui celebrating with Chen Mingjie at a hot pot restaurant. In the photo, her face flushed crimson as she leaned against Chen Mingjie's shoulder, while Chen Mingjie strained his neck to lean closer to Su Ningxue. Song Hui didn't know if it was intentional, but she captioned it, double happiness. First, wishing my daughter success in her college entrance exams to get into a top-tier university, 985, and second, congratulating Xiao Chen on regaining his single status and escaping misery. I gave it a like and commented below, sis, why are you so happy about Xiao Chen's divorce and single status? Are you planning to pursue something with him privately? Did you block your husband from seeing this post? Won't he be upset if he sees it? Then my comment got deleted. Ah. I already took screenshots and sent them straight to her husband's WeChat. An hour later, an angry reply came through, you damn bitch, I've bought tickets for tomorrow, just wait till I deal with her. I'm out here suffering to earn money, and she's using my cash to hook up with some random guy. Song Hui's husband was rarely home to begin with. I'd only seen him twice myself. We'd exchanged contact details because of the outdoor AC unit issue, but Chen Mingjie had never met him. So he didn't know it was my husband. On the second day of the college entrance exams, someone knocked on my door. It's Chen Mingjie and Su Ningxue. Su Ningxue looked somewhat pale, appearing listless and clearly not in good form. Chen Mingjie grabbed my arm and tossed the car keys into my hand. The motion was smooth and natural, as if the person who had a bitter divorce with me a month ago wasn't the same man. Could you do me a small favor? Take Xiaoxue to the exam venue today. Something urgent came up at work, and I need to handle it. I froze for a second before tossing it back, then grabbed a wet wipe from the shoe cabinet and scrubbed my hands several times. Who do you think you are, asking me for help? No way, I'm busy. Chen Mingjie frowned. Su Yuan, even if we're divorced, we're still friends, aren't we? If you don't take her, who will? Do you really want Xiaoxue to be late for her exam? Besides, our divorce was just impulsive. There weren't any major issues between us emotionally. I know deep down you still can't bear to let me go. Fine, I'll see how you behave from now on. If you want to reconcile and remarry me, I might consider it. I rolled my eyes. You're way too full of yourself, you jerk. Just looking at you makes me sick now. Who'd want to reconcile with you? Go drive and find Song Hui. Whoever her mother is can deal with her. After saying that, I slammed the door shut with a bang. Outside the door, Chen Mingjie, left with nothing but rejection, muttered to himself, why has her temper become so bad lately? I don't get it. He then proceeded to discuss with Su Ningxue, how about you wake your mom up, I'll drive her to Chili Bridge, and then she can take over and drive you to school. I really have an urgent matter at work. My car is parked at Colicchio bus station, and I can still make it to work by taking the bus, okay? Big brother, the barrage of comments surged wildly. Calicchio, isn't that where Su Ningshui had a heart attack? Holy shit, the most crucial decision is about to begin. Perfect timing. Today my neighbor's husband came home to catch her cheating. What a drama. I couldn't wait to pull out my phone and click the link to view the car's dashcam footage. The dashcam showed Chen Mingjie driving while Song Hui sat in the passenger seat. Su Ningshui was half lying in the back seat, her head lowered, her face obscured by long bangs, making her expression unclear. Song Hui was applying powder and lipstick while looking in the mirror. Mingjie, did you and Xiao Su split the marital property equally after the divorce? Xiao Su is a bit too domineering. Don't just give in to her. Take what you're entitled to. I watched while pulling out the snacks I had specifically stocked up on yesterday from the cabinet, tore open a pack of Lonely God. Chen Mingjie said gently, naturally. It's fair distribution. The car is now under my name. If you ever need it in the future, you can borrow it. I'm not as selfish as Su Yuan. Song Hui burst into giggles upon hearing this, covering her mouth with her hand and affectionately placing her other hand on Chen Mingjie's shoulder. Well then, I won't stand on ceremony. Mingjie, do you like mature women with charm? Oh, I mean, what do you think of someone like me? Now that you're divorced, you should consider finding a new girlfriend. It was just speculation before, but now it's confirmed. Song Hui indeed has feelings for Chen Mingjie. Chen Mingjie awkwardly glanced back. Sis, I'm not in a hurry yet. At this moment, Su Ningshui's weak voice came from the back seat. Mom, I don't feel well. Chen Mingjie tensed up. What's wrong, Xiaoxue? Where do you feel unwell? Song Hui glanced back, her tone indifferent. Just bear with it for now. Today is the day of the college entrance exam. Whatever it is, we can talk about it after the exam. As she spoke, she casually grabbed a can of Red Bull from beside the seat and tossed it to the back. Here, drink a Red Bull to perk yourself up. Song Hui didn't throw it accurately, and it probably hit Su Ningshui somewhere on her body, eliciting a muffled groan from her. Mom, I really don't feel well. Can you take me to the hospital? Song Hui screamed excitedly. What? Are you kidding me? Then she realized her voice was too loud and tried to soften her tone, speaking as gently as possible. Xiaoxue, you can't give up halfway. Mom is counting on you to get into a top-tier university and bring honor to our family. Your father works at the construction site and sends money home every month. Just hoping you'll get into college. You can't let him down. Your grades have always been at the top of the class. Mom believes you can hold on until the exams are over. Chen Mingjie frowned. Sister Song, I think Xiaoxue really seems a bit off. She wasn't like this when she went to take the college entrance exam yesterday. Should we take her to the hospital? Song Hui disagreed. This child has been spoiled by me since she was little. She often pretends to have headaches or fevers for no reason. It's probably just pre-exam nerves. She's had stomachaches from stress since she was a child, right? Xiaoxue, you can push through, can't you? The person in the back seat didn't respond. I saw Su Ningshui's head tilted to the side. Song Hui's tone sounded impatient. I'm talking to you. Stop pretending. There was still no movement from behind. Chen Mingjie glanced at the rearview mirror to check the back. He anxiously called Su Ningshui's name twice, seeing Su Ningshui's eyes tightly closed. He immediately pulled the car over to the roadside. Sis, Xiaoxue seems to have fainted. Song Hui was startled and turned around in fright, reaching out to vigorously shake her daughter's leg, still muttering, Hey, stop pretending to sleep. Even if the King of Heaven comes today, you still have to take the college entrance exam. Chen Mingjie then got out of the car and opened the rear door, gently patting Su Ningshui's face. Xiaoxue, Xiaoxue. The person in his arms still had their eyes tightly shut. Chen Mingjie panicked, placing his index finger under Su Ningshui's nose, then his face turned deathly pale as he let out a horrified scream and stumbled backward. She's not breathing. Song Hui froze for a second before her eyes widened in shock, and she frantically opened the door to get into the back seat. She held Su Ningshui's body and shook it vigorously. Xiaoxue, don't scare your mother like this. Wake up quickly. You're my only precious daughter. Chen Mingjie's hands trembled as he took out his phone. Hello, ambulance. There's a student here who's suddenly fainted. Song Hui was completely at a loss, clinging to Su Ningshui and wailing uncontrollably. Help, someone, help, my daughter isn't breathing. Over there. Chen Mingjie's voice trembled. What? I don't know how to perform CPR. I know about mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, but how do you do chest compressions? Hurry up and come over. I'm not related to the child. I'm just an ordinary neighbor. Yes, this is the location. I still have to go to work. Should I hand the phone to her mom? You can teach her first aid. I couldn't help but laugh at the scene. in the face of life and death. Chen Mingjie's selfish and weak character, incapable of handling responsibility, was fully exposed. Song Hui clearly heard it too. She screamed while shaking her head and waving her hands. I don't know how either. Don't give me your phone. If you call the ambulance, you're responsible for CPR yourself. I'm too old for this. How would I know these modern things? You're young, you save her. Hurry up, my daughter is dying. Chen Mingjie hung up with a snap, shouting furiously, she's your daughter, what's that got to do with me? I don't care, I'm driving to work now. You get her out of here immediately. I've already done my utmost by calling an ambulance for you. The ambulance will be here soon. Just hold Su Ningxue and wait by the roadside. The two pushed responsibility back and forth, completely dropping all pretense of civility, a stark contrast to the warm, cheerful atmosphere they'd shared in the car moments earlier. Song Hui clung to her daughter, refusing to get out of the car, demanding that Chen Mingjie stay and wait with her. Chen Mingjie refused outright. He roughly pulled Song Hui out of the car, then scooped up Su Ningxue and carelessly dumped her on the roadside grass. A woman's strength was no match for a man's. Unable to stop him, Song Hui lashed out like a madwoman, hitting and scratching Chen Mingjie while screaming, "You're heartless. How can you just stand by and watch my daughter faint without lifting a finger? If my daughter dies, I'll never forgive you. You're not allowed to leave. It must be your car that's bad luck for my daughter. You'll bear full responsibility." Sorrow. They were outside the car, and I couldn't see them anymore. Only the sound of two people screaming and cursing could be heard. Chen Mingjie was utterly frustrated. So unlucky. I should never have agreed to take your daughter to her college entrance exam. You crazy woman, get this straight. Your daughter fainting has nothing to do with me. Who knows if you gave her something she shouldn't have eaten at home this morning. He immediately floored the accelerator and sped away. When his face reappeared on the dashcam footage, there were 3 bloody scratches on his neck. His face was deathly pale, and his expression was utterly dreadful. In the distance, Song Hui's wails of regret could still be heard. The barrage of comments erupted with sighs at this moment. TSK TSK TSK, this is human nature for you. The female lead is still kind-hearted. Earlier, she immediately performed CPR, then called 911, and after getting permission to run red lights, drove to the nearest hospital in 6 or 7 minutes. Now look at these 2 useless idiots. Can't do anything right, top-notch at shifting blame onto each other. Looks like Su Ningxue is in trouble this time. No one's giving her first aid, and she still has to wait for the ambulance to arrive. She might not make it till then. I polished off a bag of Lonely God snacks, then gnawed through a pack of boneless chicken feet. Just as I was about to turn off my phone, Chen Mingjie called me. He started by apologizing to me. Honey, I was wrong. I was too impulsive before. Can we get remarried? I'll return the car to you. Are you free? Let's go transfer the ownership now. Heh, only when something goes wrong do you think of me. No time. Goodbye to you. I blocked him directly, picked up the suitcase I had prepared in advance, and went back to my parents' house. These days, I don't know what kind of trouble the neighbors across the hall are causing, and Chen Mingjie might also come knocking to stir up trouble. There's also the husband of the neighbor who bought tickets to return today, caught cheating, only to receive the bad news that his daughter was hospitalized and missed her college entrance exams. A double blessing at the doorstep. The scene must be quite bloody. This is no place to linger. Let them fight among themselves. Having my parents around is more reassuring than being alone. When I stepped through the door, my parents were having breakfast. My mom's eyes lit up when she saw me. Sweetheart, what brings you here? My dad immediately dashed into the kitchen and came out with a bowl of mung bean porridge. Yuan, haven't had breakfast yet, have you? Come over and eat. Today there are steamed dumplings you love to eat. I went to wash my hands and sat down beside my mother. Speaking calmly, Dad, Mom, I got divorced. My parents froze, exchanged glances, and then my mother took my hand, pretending to be at ease. This isn't a big deal at all. The divorce rate among young people these days is so high, it's completely normal. My dad picked up a soup dumpling and placed it in my bowl. I've always thought that scoundrel Chen Mingjie wasn't good enough for my daughter. You did the right thing. You should have kicked him to the curb long ago, my mom then added. Sweetheart, don't underestimate your dad and me. We're totally accepting. There's no divorce rule in our family, okay? We respect whatever you choose to do. We'd understand even if you were with a woman. Dad immediately interrupted. Let's not go there with women. What's wrong with women? They're way better than smelly men. Honey, are you fed up with me? Did I do something wrong again lately? The barrage pops up. The female lead's parents are so wonderful. I remember after her death, her parents, white-haired seeing off black-haired, succumbed to depression one after another. The female lead originally had such a happy family, so perfect. What's so good about marriage anyway? My eyes welled up, and I immediately lowered my head to slurp my porridge. Damn, Suning Shui is really lucky to be alive. The wicked really do live long. Still alive, unfortunately. She's alive but has become a vegetable due to prolonged oxygen deprivation to the brain from cardiac arrest. Can only open her eyes without consciousness. Her mom was completely stunned. The key point is when she called Chen Mingjie, she found out she'd been blocked. Now she's going crazy in the group chat. I quietly clicked into the group chat. Building 45, room 405. Can anyone help me judge this fairly? Crying. My daughter rode in our neighbor's car across the hall to take her college entrance exam, but now she's had an accident and become vegetative. The neighbor has disappeared. He's not at work either. Can anyone contact him? He left the group chat. Now my daughter is lying in the hospital, her condition unknown, and she missed the most important exam of her life. Her entire future is ruined. Instantly splashing a huge spray of water. Building 96, Unit 708. What accident? A car crash. Building 67, Unit 103. Oh my goodness, poor kid. Building 45, Unit 501 at me. Didn't leave the group. Still here. I smiled and replied, I'm already divorced from my ex-husband. The car is registered under his name, and I wasn't the one driving today. Just FYI. Building 45, Unit 501. You've got quite the luck, washing your hands so cleanly. Even if it's your ex-husband, shouldn't you take some responsibility? Maybe the car had issues that caused the accident. You're hiding something. This woman must be out of her mind. I tagged Song Hui. Are you sure it was an accident? Room 405, Building 45. Even if it wasn't a car accident, something still happened to the person in the car. I tagged Room 501, Building 45. See that, idiot? If your brain's full of crap, go flush it out. Next time you try to drag me into this, we'll meet in court. She was still defiant. Xiaoxiu ended up like this. Someone has to take responsibility. How can you be so heartless? Someone in the group spoke up for me. The facts aren't clear yet. What does this have to do with room 406? Just call the police yourself if you have an issue. Others chimed in, urging Song Hui to call the police. At that moment, my doorbell rang. My father went to answer the door. It was Chen Mingjie, sweating profusely and carrying 2 gift boxes. After casually greeting my father, he rushed in and knelt down abruptly before me. Honey, it's all my fault. Let's make up. If you're still angry and don't want to remarry right now, that's fine. I'll return the car to you first. Let me take you to transfer the ownership now so you can see my sincerity. My mother snorted coldly. Too late. A good horse doesn't turn back to graze on old grass. Our Yuanyuan doesn't need you anymore. I looked at him meaningfully. Are you in such a hurry to take me to transfer the ownership because something happened in the car? Chen Mingjie said guiltily, no. What could be the matter? It's just that after the divorce, I realized I can't live without you. Can you forgive me? As long as you can forgive me, you can hit me or scold me. Anything is fine. All right, you said it. I swung my arm in a full circle and raised my hand to deliver a slap. A flash of resentment flickered in Chen Mingjie's eyes before he forced a smile and offered his right cheek. Go ahead, hit me if it makes you feel better. After that, we'll transfer the car's ownership. I rubbed my stinging palm. It's because something happened to Su Ningshui in this car, isn't it? That's why you're so eager to pass the buck. My father's eyebrows shot up. How dare you, you heartless bastard. You were actually trying to scheme against my daughter. My mom held the broom. Get out of here. Chen Mingjie was shoved out by my dad, but he refused to leave and kept knocking on the door outside, until he received a call from the police, asking him to go to the station. I was secretly gloating when the police station actually hit me too. Turns out Song Hui, that lunatic, had the mindset of, catch one, catch all, and didn't even spare me. My parents were worried about me and came along. Little did we know we arrived at just the right moment. Song Hui was kicking and punching Chen Mingjie, and even the female officer couldn't hold her back. She roared hysterically, it's all your fault. My daughter became a vegetable after riding in your car. My daughter was supposed to go to Tsinghua or Peking University. You owe her a 985 university life. My poor daughter, she was supposed to have such a bright future. The barrage comments lamented, isn't this exactly what happened to the female lead when I first watched it? Now it's the scumbag's turn to suffer, Chen Mingjie explained. It has nothing to do with me. I'm completely innocent, I was just kindly helping with the exam escort. Her daughter suddenly fainted, and I even called an ambulance for her. As soon as he saw me, he immediately pointed at me. It's her, the car was originally hers, go after her. My dad glared at him, say one more word, and I'll tear your mouth apart. In the end, a few more police officers arrived to calm things down. They questioned each of the 3 parties involved separately. It was finally determined to be an ordinary accident, with no connection to the car whatsoever. Chen Mingjie breathed a sigh of relief. Song Hui cried and shouted, so my daughter's life will just be like this from now on. And what about the enormous medical expenses? Shouldn't they compensate for all of it? That's the real point. The police said if she had any objections, she could sue the car owner in court. There might be some humanitarian compensation in civil proceedings. But it has absolutely nothing to do with me, the previous owner, my parents and I left early. Song Hui was still arguing with Chen Mingjie at the police station. Back home, I linked arms with my parents. Dad, Mom, let me take you on a road trip. My parents exchanged glances and happily agreed. We packed our bags and set off that afternoon. We traveled to a coastal city 300 kilometers away. This season isn't as scorching hot as July-August, nor as slightly cool as April-May. It's absolutely perfect for going to the seaside. I'm having a great time with my parents here, while life on the other side is miserable. At night, lying in bed, I watched the barrage comments giving me live updates and almost burst out laughing. Song Hui and Chen Mingjie left separately after being persuaded by the police. Song Hui had just arrived home when she ran into her furious husband, Su Desheng. Su De slapped Song Hui hard across the face, leaving her dazed. She wept and begged for mercy. Then she was kicked and sent flying. While beating her, Su Qing demanded to know where her lover was. Song Hui refused to speak, and as a result, was beaten even more severely. In the end, even her front teeth were knocked out, and she cried while pointing upstairs to apartment 501. I was stunned. It turned out that the husband of the stay-at-home mom in apartment 501 upstairs was having an affair with Song Hui. Su Qing grabbed Song Hui by the hair and dragged her upstairs to apartment 501 to confront the man. At that moment, the lady of apartment 501 was enjoying melons with her husband. As soon as the door opened, Su Qing rushed in and started beating the male homeowner. He kept hitting him while cursing them as adulterers. Now the mother from apartment 501 also understood what was going on. She pounced on Song Hui and scratched her wildly, called her a little slut, shameless, seducing her husband. She said she considered her a good friend, yet she destroyed her family. I'm dying of laughter. Former best friends turned against each other, pulling hair and fighting. Midway through the fight, Su Qing realized that the husband from apartment 501 didn't match the man in the photo. She pulled out her phone to compare, then demanded to know from Song Hui, who lay motionless like a dead dog, who the strange man in the photo was. The mother from apartment 501 immediately jumped in and claimed it was Chen Mingjie. She even spilled everything about how Chen Mingjie's reckless driving had landed her daughter in the hospital. Su Qing went mad. After brutally beating Song Hui again and learning Chen Mingjie's workplace, he grabbed a fruit knife from the table and ran off. As for Chen Mingjie, because of Su Ningxue and Song Hui, he missed the important task assigned by his leader in the morning. He was currently being criticized in a meeting. Su Desheng rushed into their workplace and stabbed Chen Mingjie 7 or 8 times. Everyone was terrified. Fortunately, they reacted quickly, and several men worked together to restrain Su Desheng using chairs. Someone called the police. Su Desheng was arrested. With everything settled, I took my parents back home. I listed the originally intended marital home for sale through an agency. My life returned to normal. 6 months later, Su Desheng was sentenced to death for the heinous crime of causing multiple injuries resulting in death. Song Hui suffered fractured ribs from the beating. Chen Mingjie was lucky to survive, but his kidney was stabbed. They had no choice but to remove one. The deceased was the husband from apartment 501. It turned out that when Su Desheng beat him, he struck his temple violently, and by the time he was sent to the hospital, he was already gone. Chen Mingjie stayed in the hospital for 2 months. And as soon as he was discharged, he was pestered by Song Hui. Every day, she dragged her daughter's body to Chen Mingjie's workplace to cause a scene. They insisted he take responsibility for their daughter's future. Chen Mingjie's workplace couldn't stand the harassment anymore and fired him. Left with no choice, Chen Mingjie compensated Song Hui with his car. Song Hui promptly sold it in the second-hand market, after squandering all the money. She discovered flirtatious chat logs between Chen Mingjie and her daughter on her daughter's phone. The reason her daughter suffered a cerebral infarction was because she stayed up chatting with Chen Mingjie until 2 a.m. the night before her college entrance exam. Song Hui used the chat logs to threaten Chen Mingjie, and the two became inextricably entangled. 3 years later, the long-lost barrage comments reappeared. Brilliant. This is truly the year's most satisfying revenge story. The scumbag was already down one kidney and couldn't overexert himself, yet Song Hui kept pushing him to work as a delivery driver and at construction sites. In just 3 short years, his health collapsed, and now he looks like a frail old man. He finally reached his breaking point and snapped, luring Song Hui into the house. He locked the doors, set it on fire, then jumped into the river to end his own life. The neighbor's daughter, now orphaned, was sent to live in a welfare institution. I whispered softly to the air, "Thank you for the spoilers, OMG." The female lead can see the words we're typing. The Rebirth novel just turned into a bullet screen novel. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. The family downstairs never turns on their heating in winter. Their home is at 28 degrees Celsius, while mine is at 18 degrees Celsius. I went to confront them, and his wife laughed at me while holding a hammy melon, saying, "Your heating is strong. The warmth rises upwards. What's wrong with us benefiting a little?" I was shaking with anger. "Fine, I'll let you benefit." I turned off the heating directly and flew to Sonia overnight. Half a month later, my neighbor's phone calls were non-stop, crying that all his pipes had frozen and burst. When the phone rang, I was lying on a beach chair at Haitang Bay in Sonia, wearing sunglasses. The name, Zhang Wei, buzzing on the phone screen was like a fly, ruining the serene beauty of the sea and sky before me. I leisurely took a sip of the chilled coconut water before swiping to answer the call. "Lin Wan, are you fucking insane?" Zhang Wei's roar pierced through the receiver, carrying a hoarse, frantic tone like a mad dog whose tail had been stepped on. I held the phone slightly away from my ear to avoid letting his filthy voice pollute my hearing. The sea breeze brushed against my cheeks, carrying a salty and warm scent. I calmly asked, "What's the matter? Why did you turn off the heating? You did it on purpose, didn't you?" His accusation was utterly illogical, like a 3-year-old throwing a tantrum. I adjusted my sunglasses, watching the crowd playing in the distance, my tone devoid of any fluctuation. "My house, my heating. I'll turn it off if I want to." "You?" Zhang Wei seemed choked by my calm response, heavy breathing coming from the other end of the phone. A few seconds later, he began shouting even more hysterically. "My pipes all froze and burst, every single one, the floors, the furniture, my brand new 80-inch TV, everything's fucking ruined. Do you have any idea how much money we've lost? Could you even afford to compensate us?" "Oh." I felt utterly unmoved, even experiencing a faint, icy satisfaction. I let out a soft chuckle, so quiet, yet like a needle precisely puncturing the bubble of his fury. "Is that so? Don't you have heating at home? That's really unfortunate." With that, I didn't give him any chance to roar again. A light tap of the finger. "Hang up, block." The whole world instantly became peaceful. Palm trees casting shadows, crystal clear waters, and pristine white sand. These past 2 weeks in Sonia, each day felt like it was snatched back from a stolen life. I closed my eyes, yet that familiar suffocating sensation still surged up from the depths of my memory. Just half a month ago, my home was still a giant ice cellar. I'm clearly paying the highest heating fees in the entire neighborhood, yet the needle on my home thermometer stubbornly stays at 18 degrees. During winter at home, I have to wear thick coral fleece pajamas, step into plush slippers, and even clutch a hot water bottle to my chest. Even so, the chill still creeps in through the soles of my feet, freezing me to the bone. Meanwhile, Zhang Wei's family downstairs seems to be living in an entirely different season. His wife Lu Wan almost daily flaunts extravagantly in the homeowners group chat. Today she posts a photo of her son wearing a short-sleeved vest playing on a crawling mat. Tomorrow she shares a plate of cut chilled watermelon with the caption, "The heating is too strong, need something cold to cool down." Between the lines, she hints at having secret money-saving tricks, attracting a crowd of bargain-hunting neighbors to fawn over her. At first, I just thought it was strange. I even began to doubt myself. Was there something wrong with my apartment's layout or orientation, or were the windows not sealed properly? Until one day, I accidentally saw Lu Wan replying to someone in the group chat, "Heating fees are so expensive, paying for that stuff is just being a total sucker, isn't it? Just turn on the heating upstairs, doesn't the warm air rise upwards? We'll catch it down here, nice and cozy." Those words struck me like lightning, clearing all my confusion. A flame of anger instantly ignited from the depths of my heart. I bought an infrared thermometer and measured my floor, 18 degrees Celsius, aiming again at the position of Zhang Wei's ceiling downstairs, which is the other side of my floor, 26 degrees, a full 8-degree temperature difference. The evidence is conclusive. All my efforts have become nourishment for that shameless vampire family downstairs. They feed on my flesh and blood with a clear conscience, while mocking me as a grown-up giant baby who doesn't understand life. That day, I took the photo of the thermometer to the property management. The property manager looked troubled, spouting vague platitudes like, "We're all neighbors, let's be understanding," suppressing my anger. I knocked on Zhang Wei's door again. Lu Wan answered the door, holding half of a huge honeydew melon and eating it with a spoon. When she saw me, there wasn't a trace of guilt on her face. Instead, she wore a smile as if looking at a fool. "Your heating is strong, the warmth rises. What's wrong with us benefiting a little?" She spoke with righteous indignation, her lips still glistening with melon juice. At that moment, all the blood in my body rushed to my head, trembling with rage. "Okay, I'll let you have it." After leaving his house, I returned to my own home without saying a word. I went into the storage room and found the dusty main heating valve. Without a moment's hesitation, I mustered all my strength and turned it a full 180 degrees. The valve emitted a dull click, as if silently approving of my action. The radiators in the room cooled down at a visibly rapid pace. That familiar chill enveloped me once again, but I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. It was the thrill of revenge. The freedom of breaking free from shackles. I opened my phone and booked a flight to Sanya for that night. While packing my luggage, I even hummed a tune. Now, lying on the warm beach, I recall Zhang Wei's helpless, furious roar on the phone. I know his winter has only just begun. After I blocked him, Zhang Wei clearly wasn't ready to let it go. Within less than a minute, another unfamiliar number called in. I guess it's Lu Wan. When the call connected, sure enough, it was her sharp voice tinged with sobs. "Lin Wan, how could you be so heartless? You've ruined our family." Right from the start, she pinned a moral high hat on me. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her, so I threw her own words right back at her unchanged. "When you stood at the door holding a cantaloupe, laughing at me for being foolish, why didn't you mention neighborly bonds then? I'm paying real money for heating, while you're downstairs enjoying free warmth at 28 degrees. Yet you still have the nerve to mock me, the paying customer. Tell me, who's really being heartless here?" My voice was icy, devoid of any emotion, like the harshest midday sun in Sanya, leaving her nowhere to hide. Lu Wan on the other end of the phone clearly choked up, her sobbing even pausing for a moment. Then, she immediately launched into the second act of her performance, throwing a tantrum. "You're just jealous. Jealous that our family has a husband and children, living happily. You're an old maid who can't get married, green with envy seeing us live well, deliberately trying to harm us." This logic is truly touching. I was almost amused to the point of laughter by her. "What do I have to envy you for? Envy that you have a husband who doesn't pay heating bills, or envy that you have a son who wears short sleeves and eats popsicles? Don't flatter yourself. Your makeshift partnership isn't even worth my attention." Lu Wan was left speechless by my retort and could only let out meaningless screams. At that moment, another call came through. It was the property manager. I hung up Lu Wan's call and answered the property manager's. "Miss Lin, do you think you could come back right now?" The property manager's tone was urgent, even carrying a hint of pleading. "Mr. Zhang downstairs has a severe water leak, and it's already seeped into Uncle Wang's place on the floor below. You need to come back and deal with this right away." I picked up the coconut and took another sip. "Deal with what? My heating valve is shut tight. Not a single drop has leaked. Whoever's leaking should be the one you contact. That's basic property management common sense, isn't it? But Mr. Zhang says it's because you turned off the heating that his pipes froze and burst." "Oh," I retorted leisurely. "Is he implying that I'm obligated to provide heating for his place 24/7 to ensure his pipes don't freeze? Am I the heating company or his mother? Does the property manual state such a rule? Besides, I'm currently on vacation thousands of kilometers away in Sanya. Flights and hotels are all booked. You expect me to just drop everything and return? Are you going to reimburse me for the return flight tickets?" This series of rhetorical questions left the property manager utterly speechless. He hemmed and hawed for ages but couldn't get a single word out. "Miss Lin, that's not what we meant." "Then what did you mean?" "Don't come to me. I've done all I can. Go find the owner causing the leak and make them immediately stop infringing on their downstairs neighbor's rights, plus take full responsibility for compensation." that's your property management's job. I directly kicked the ball back into their court and hung up the phone. I know the property management doesn't dare offend me. So now they can only go after Zhang Wei, but Zhang Wei is about to face much more than just pressure from the property management. He'll also have to deal with the real tough customer downstairs, Uncle Wang. Uncle Wang moved here just last year. Before retiring, he was the legal director of a major state-owned enterprise, spending his entire career dealing with contracts and clauses. Though kind-hearted, she possesses clear logic and strong principles, absolutely not someone a rogue like Zhang Wei could handle. Sure enough, not long after, a neighbor from the same floor whom I was on good terms with sent me a WeChat message. Attached was a short video clip. In the video, water was dripping from Uncle Wang's living room ceiling like rain, with several expensive crystal chandeliers swaying precariously. Uncle Wang stood amidst the wreckage, his face as calm as still water. Holding up his phone to record Zhang Wei at the doorway, "Mr. Zhang, it is currently 10:15 a.m., your apartment has been leaking into mine continuously for over an hour. I demand that you take immediate action to stop the leakage." Uncle Wang's voice was not loud, but each word was enunciated clearly, carrying an air of unquestionable authority. At the same time, I formally notify you that you must compensate me for all economic losses incurred, including but not limited to wall repairs, furniture restoration, appliance damages, and lost wages. Zhang Wei stood at the door, his face flushed crimson like pig liver, wanting to act tough, yet utterly speechless under Uncle Wang's overwhelming presence. His usual tricks of throwing tantrums and making scenes proved fragile and powerless when faced with real laws and rules. Watching Zhang Wei's humiliated expression in the video filled me with immense satisfaction. Tossing my phone aside, I took off my sunglasses and stretched lazily in the sunlight. I know this farce has only just begun. Zhang Wei's troubles are far greater than he imagined. Unable to gain any advantage in reality, Zhang Wei and Lu Wan shifted their battlefield online. They began launching vicious slander and personal attacks against me in the neighborhood's homeowners group chat. The first to lash out was Lu Wan. She sent a 60-second voice message in the group chat, which, when played, revealed her piercing wails. "What sin has our family committed to deserve such a vicious neighbor? She's a single woman, unhappy with her own life, and can't stand seeing other families happy. She's deliberately trying to drive our family of 3 to ruin." She twisted black and white, portraying herself as a perfect housewife persecuted by a vicious older single woman. Shortly after, Zhang Wei also made his appearance. He played the role of a tragic male lead, posting over a dozen photos in the group chat showing their flooded home, the warped floorboards, the soaked sofa, and that 80-inch TV with a black screen, each photo silently accused. "After all our hard work as a couple, we finally managed to build this home, and now it's all ruined. We really don't know what we did to offend this Miss Lin, that she would use such methods to target us." He also implied with pointed remarks that I have some shady background and am deliberately sabotaging them. The couple played off each other perfectly, their acting skills nothing short of masterful. Some well-meaning but uninformed neighbors in the group were immediately swayed by their narrative. "Oh dear, the situation downstairs is just heartbreaking to see. Shaolin, we're all neighbors here. Couldn't you have talked things out properly instead of letting it come to this? Forgiveness is divine, you know." That's right, that's right. A near neighbor is better than a distant relative. If everyone takes a step back, the whole situation will be much brighter. Those seemingly light-hearted words of advice, like soft knives, stab into me, yet demand that I show understanding for the executioner who drains my blood. I stared at the scrolling messages on my phone screen, my face devoid of any expression. I even found it somewhat laughable. These people, they'll forever stand atop their moral high ground, urging victims to be magnanimous. I didn't argue with them over a single word. When the atmosphere in the group reached its peak, and everyone thought I was in the wrong, only then did I leisurely produce several screenshots of evidence I had prepared long ago. The first one was my heating bill payment receipts from the past 3 months. It clearly shows that I'm paying the highest tier fee in the entire residential complex, nearly 1,000 yuan per month. The second image is a temperature comparison chart I took with an infrared thermometer. On the left is the temperature of my floor, 18.3 degrees Celsius. On the right is the temperature of Zhang Wei's ceiling, 26.8 degrees Celsius. The drastic temperature difference and the glaring red numbers struck like a resounding slap, vividly illustrating how shamelessly the heat was stolen. The third piece, and the most damning evidence of all, was an audio recording. I clicked send. Everyone in the group heard what Lu Wan said to me at the door that day. Her self-righteous, Even somewhat boastful and mocking voice echoed through the quiet neighborhood group chat, "Your heating is strong, and the warmth flows downward. What's wrong with us benefiting a little? Only fools pay for heating. We don't spend a penny and still enjoy 28 degrees. Doesn't that make you mad?" The recording playback has ended. The entire homeowners group chat fell into deathly silence. A full 3 minutes passed before someone cautiously sent a, "All those nice guys who had previously chimed in vanished without a trace, as if they had never existed." The wind of public opinion instantly reversed in the face of irrefutable evidence. Holy crap, so they were just freeloading on the heating, and still acting so self-righteous, not paying a single cent for a whole month, enjoying the warmth others paid for. And then turning around to curse them. What kind of shameless creature does that? This isn't just petty opportunism anymore, it's outright theft. I feel sorry for Miss Lin, she's paying the bills, yet her own home is freezing like an ice cellar, all to benefit these ungrateful people downstairs. The flood of public opinion swiftly changed direction, surging fiercely toward Zhang Wei and Lu Wan. I watched the barrage of accusatory messages in the group chat. Then coldly locked my phone screen, trying to use public opinion to pressure me. In the face of absolute evidence, all the antics of clowns will only make their downfall more disgraceful. On the battlefield of public opinion, Zhang Wei and his wife suffered a crushing defeat. Under the siege of their neighbors, they slunk away, not daring to utter another word in the group chat. But the troubles in the real world are far more troublesome than the accusations online. The ceiling at Uncle Wang's house had large areas of peeling and bulging paint due to prolonged water exposure. The prized rosewood furniture set in the living room had warped from being soaked in sewage water. Several famous calligraphy and paintings hanging on the walls had developed mold spots due to the dampness. These damages were far beyond what a simple repainting could fix. Uncle Wang didn't waste words with Zhang Wei. He directly hired a professional third-party loss assessment company to evaluate the damages in the house. The next day, a beautifully printed and clearly itemized loss statement was delivered to Zhang Wei's hands. The last column of the statement was written in bold black font indicating the total amount, 53,600 yuan. When Zhang Wei saw that number, his eyes turned red with anger. He tore the list into shreds on the spot, pointing at Uncle Wang's nose and cursing loudly. "You're robbing me, a few pieces of rotten wood and paper, and you're asking me for 50,000, you're dreaming." He even wanted to rush forward and start a fight, but as soon as he raised his hand, he was stopped by a tall figure. He's Uncle Wang's son, a muscular gym trainer whose arms are thicker than Zhang Wei's thighs. With just one hand, he effortlessly pinned Zhang Wei's shoulder, rendering him immobile. "Uncle, let's talk this out calmly. No need for violence." Uncle Wang's son spoke calmly, but the unyielding pressure from his hand left no room for resistance. Zhang Wei experienced being completely overpowered by another person in terms of physical strength and presence for the first time. His face flushed red, yet he couldn't even struggle, feeling the helplessness and humiliation of a scholar encountering brute force. The property manager also arrived, holding a copy of the resident handbook, in an effort to quickly absolve himself of responsibility. He flipped to a specific page in front of everyone, pointed to a clause, and read it aloud. According to Article 17, Section 3 of the Residential Community Management Regulations, if damage to indoor facilities and equipment is caused by the homeowner's own actions, including but not limited to failing to take necessary anti-freezing measures or not paying heating fees on time, resulting in losses to other residents, the homeowner shall bear full responsibility. Black and white, clear as day. Zhang Wei was completely dumbfounded. He had never imagined that his money-saving trick, the clever move he had been so proud of and boasted about everywhere, would lead to such a severe chain of consequences. He collapsed on the spot like a gambler who had lost all his chips. Lu Wan stood by, covering her face and crying helplessly. She no longer defended Zhang Zhong. Instead, she began to blame him. "It's all your fault. I told you to pay the heating bill back then, but you wouldn't listen. You had to save that little bit of money. Now look what you've done. The money we have to compensate them is enough to cover our heating bills for 10 years. Are you happy now?" For the first time, the couple erupted into a fierce argument in front of their neighbors. Zhang Wei channeled all his anger, helplessness, and regret into taking it out on his wife. "How dare you blame me? If it weren't for you showing off in the group chat every day and bragging everywhere, would Lin Wan have even known we were stealing heat? You good-for-nothing woman, you can't accomplish anything but ruin everything." Their mutual accusations were like a poorly performed farce. Every word of these messages reached my ears through the neighbors' live broadcasts. I was enjoying the sun by the hotel's outdoor pool, completely unfazed. I even felt a bit like laughing, from the moment I turned off the heating valve. I had already anticipated all possible scenarios and preemptively absolved myself of any responsibility. The eye of this storm was no longer me, and Zhang Wei and Lu Wan were paying a heavy price for their greed and stupidity. The 50,000 yuan compensation demanded by Uncle Wang weighed on Zhang Wei like a mountain, but he refused to pay. So Uncle Wang directly submitted the lawsuit materials and applied to the court for pre-litigation property preservation. When the court's summons and freezing notice were delivered to Zhang Wei together, he finally realized that Uncle Wang was serious. This seemingly refined old man employed far more forceful methods than he had imagined. The phrase, property preservation, struck like a heavy hammer, completely shattering Zhang Wei's delusions of evasion. This meant that if he refused to pay compensation, the court would directly seal off his house. Misfortunes never come singly. The burst point of the home's heating pipes was beneath the floorboards. To repair it, the entire underfloor heating system in the living room would have to be torn up and redone. To save money back then, they had installed the cheapest, lowest quality laminate flooring. After being soaked by water, it had all warped and deformed, completely ruined. The repair team came to inspect and gave him a quote that made his heart skip a beat. Redoing the underfloor heating, replacing the flooring, plus labor and waste removal fees, another huge expense nearing 30,000 yuan. One blow after another left the family on the verge of collapse. Lu Wan returned to her parents' home in tears, seeking help, but after learning the whole story, her family not only refused to offer financial assistance but also scolded her harshly. They accused the couple of being dishonest, always taking advantage of others, and now that trouble had come. It was utterly disgraceful. Zhang Wei found himself completely trapped in a dilemma both at home and abroad. Outside, there was Uncle Wang's relentless pressure. At home, his wife's tearful complaints, along with the cold stares and disdain from relatives. His pitiful shred of self-respect was utterly crushed. Under immense pressure, his mindset began to twist. He no longer reflected on his own mistakes. Instead, directing all his resentment toward me, he stubbornly believed that it was me, Lin Wan, who destroyed his originally happy and fulfilling life. If I hadn't suddenly turned off the heating, none of this would have happened. A malicious thought took root and grew in his heart. Since my family is having a hard time, you shouldn't have it easy either. Late that night, after drinking a bit, he mustered his courage and sneaked up to my doorstep. He pulled out a tube of super glue from his pocket, ready to clog my door lock. He wanted to make sure I couldn't return home. He wants me to taste the bitterness of desperation. A sinister smile crept across his face as he twisted open the glue cap and aimed it at the keyhole. Just as he was about to succeed, a blinding white light suddenly flashed, enveloping his entire body. Immediately afterward, a sharp, piercing alarm sound instantly echoed throughout the hallway. Alert, alert, humanoid movement detected at the entrance area. Recording and alarm functions activated. That was the smart camera I had installed at the entrance earlier. It not only has motion detection capabilities but also comes equipped with a blinding strobe light and a high decibel alarm. Zhang Wei's guilty conscience made him terrified by this sudden turn of events, leaving him frozen in place. The glue in his hand fell to the ground with a plop. His face, twisted by alcohol and resentment, was captured clearly by the high-definition camera. The piercing alarm sound sliced through the midnight silence like a sharp sword. The motion sensor lights in the entire building flickered on in response. Neighbors opened their doors one after another, sticking their heads out to see what was happening. The security guard also rushed upstairs upon hearing the noise. Zhang Wei stood frozen at my doorstep, still clutching the glue cap in his hand, while the tube of super glue on the floor served as undeniable evidence of his wrongdoing. Caught red-handed, just as he was at a loss and being pointed at by the neighbors, a cold voice came from the camera. "Mr. Zhang, visiting late at night, do you have any issues with my door lock?" I was lying on the soft bed of a Sanya hotel, remotely watching the commotion at my doorstep through a mobile app. My voice echoed clearly through the hallway, transmitted by the camera speaker. "All the neighbors in our community saw what you did to my door lock." Zhang Wei's face instantly turned from flushed to deathly pale. Only then did he realize his every move had been live-streamed. With the video evidence irrefutable, he had no defense left. Under the neighbors' disdainful and mocking gazes, he was escorted to the property management office by two tall security guards, one on each side, like a defeated rooster, without the slightest hesitation. I immediately forwarded the video recording his entire criminal process to the property manager and Uncle Wang. Uncle Wang replied instantly, "This already constitutes provocation and disturbance, and given the severity of the circumstances, it's entirely justified to report it to the police. The property manager clearly didn't want to escalate the matter and tarnish the reputation of the residential complex. He could only forcefully suppress Zhang Wei, making him give me an explanation. In the end, in the property management office, Zhang Wei, in front of the property manager and security guards, delivered a humiliating apology to my phone screen. "Miss Lin, I'm sorry, it was my fault. I drank too much and acted foolishly, leading to this disgraceful behavior. I promise, it will never happen again. Please be merciful and forgive me this once." His voice was as faint as a mosquito's hum, filled with resentment and shame. He probably never imagined in his life that he would bow his head to a woman he despised the most. Speaking to a phone screen, Lu Wan also rushed to the property management upon hearing the news. She was both ashamed and furious seeing her husband's pathetic state, and immediately started a heated argument with Zhang Wei right then and there. The conflict between the couple escalated further under the watchful eyes of everyone present. This incident exploded like a bombshell, completely destroying the reputation of Zhang Wei and his wife in the neighborhood. Everyone came to know that they not only sought petty gains but also had serious flaws in their character. They were utterly, socially dead, while I, thousands of miles away, watched all this unfold on my phone, calmly ended the video call, then picked up the hotel room phone and ordered myself the most luxurious seafood dinner as a celebration. Strategizing within a command tent ensures victory 1,000 miles away. Humiliate the enemy while emerging unscathed. This feeling is truly exhilarating. After half a month's vacation, I returned to my city, my neighborhood. Stepping out of the elevator, a refreshing breeze greeted me. To my surprise, the doormat at my doorstep had been replaced with a brand new one, accompanied by an apology fruit basket from the property management. It seems the incident involving Zhang Wei last time had indeed put pressure on the property management. In the hallway, I ran into a few familiar neighbors. They greeted me with unusually friendly and polite attitudes, even with a hint of admiration. "Xiao Lin is back, well done, that's exactly how they should be dealt with. If you ever need anything in the future, just say the word, we'll all stand by your side." I responded with a smile and a nod, feeling completely at peace inside. Unlocking the door with my key, a wave of warmth instantly enveloped me. I had turned on the heating remotely via my phone app earlier, and now the house was as cozy as spring, maintaining a constant 25 degrees, so comfortable it almost made me sigh. I changed into slippers and switched on the newly purchased aroma diffuser, transforming the entire space into one of tranquility and delight. This is the kind of life my money should buy. In stark contrast was the scene downstairs. At Zhang Wei's doorstep, piles of dismantled flooring and various construction debris emitted a damp, musty odor. Inside the house, the piercing sound of electric drills and the couple's unrestrained quarrels echoed intermittently. With poor soundproofing, fragments of their heated argument drifted upstairs. "Where's the money? The money to compensate Uncle Wang? When are you going to borrow it?" came Lu Wan's shrill, tearful scream. "I told you to pay the heating bill back then, but you refused. Now look. The cost of fixing the house is enough to cover 10 years of heating, you jinx." This was immediately followed by Zhang Wei's furious roar. "How dare you say that? If it weren't for you constantly showing off in the group chat, who would have known we were freeloading on the heating? It's all because of your big mouth. I must have been blind to marry you back then." The once perfect family that boasted about their happiness in the homeowners group chat is now reduced to mutual blame and vicious curses, because of money, because of stress. The thin veneer of their false harmony has been torn to shreds. Listening to the commotion downstairs, I feel nothing inside. It even felt a bit noisy. I walked to the desk and put on my noise-canceling headphones. The whole world instantly quieted down. I turned on the computer and began leisurely dealing with the backlog of work emails from the past half-month. All the turmoil of the outside world no longer has anything to do with me. Their hell and my heaven are separated only by the distance of a floor. Zhang Wei ultimately failed to gather enough money to compensate Uncle Wang. Uncle Wang's patience ran out, and he officially filed a lawsuit in court. The court summons, like a death warrant, was delivered by the postman to Zhang Wei's chaotic home. To make matters worse, the video of Zhang Wei using glue to block my door lock late at night was also submitted to the court by Uncle Wang's lawyer as supplementary evidence of his poor character. The repercussions of this incident even spread to his work. Some neighbor, no one knows who, spread his glorious deeds in the neighborhood to his company's colleague group chat. Soon, the leadership of his company called him in for a serious conversation, although he wasn't directly fired. The incident severely damaged his image and reputation within the company. the year-end excellence award he was supposed to receive was cancelled, and his largest year-end bonus vanished into thin air. The dual blows from work and life, like two massive mountains, completely crushed Zhang Wei. He began numbing himself with alcohol, coming home drunk every day. Drunk, he would quarrel with Lu Wan. What started as verbal abuse gradually escalated into physical violence, a slap, a shove. Like opening Pandora's box, the violence in this family kept escalating. Lu Wan finally couldn't take it anymore. On a night when Zhang Wei laid hands on her again, she called the police, then returned to her parents' home with her body covered in bruises and her son, who was crying uncontrollably from fear. Moreover, through a lawyer, she formally filed for divorce from Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei's world completely collapsed at that moment. He lost the bonus that was almost within his grasp, lost the respect of his neighbors, and lost the trust of his friends. Now, he was about to lose even his family and the house that was soon to be seized by the court. He rushed to his mother-in-law's house, knelt on the ground, and tearfully begged Lu Wan to forgive him, pleading with her not to divorce him. But as Lu Wan looked at his face, swollen from hangover and despair, her eyes held nothing but cold disappointment and disgust. The husband she had once been so proud of, believing him to be clever and shrewd, had now turned into a complete scoundrel, drunkard, and failure. She had completely lost all hope in him, from initially gloating over petty gains to now being abandoned by all and left with nothing. Zhang Wei's life had completed a tragic yet laughable cycle. He transformed from a perpetrator into someone who appeared somewhat pitiable, but all of this was brought upon himself. Undeserving of anyone's sympathy, the court's verdict was soon delivered. There was no suspense whatsoever. Zhang Wei must fully compensate Uncle Wang's loss of 53,600 yuan within 15 days after the judgment takes effect, and bear all the costs of this lawsuit. If he fails to fulfill the obligation on time, the court will initiate compulsory enforcement procedures and auction the property under his name. In order to keep the house, Zhang Wei had to swallow his pride and borrow money from everywhere. He approached all his relatives and friends, said every kind word possible, but also endured countless disdainful looks and ridicule. Finally, after hitting a wall everywhere, he actually had the audacity to show up at my doorstep. Through the peephole, I saw him standing outside, looking haggard and dejected, with greasy hair hanging limply and a scruffy beard, like a homeless man. He rang the doorbell. I turned on the intercom inside the security door but didn't open it. "What's the matter?" My voice was as cold as ice. Zhang Wei forced a smile uglier than crying upon hearing my tone. "Miss Lin, neighbor Lin, I know I was wrong before, I was a jerk. You're magnanimous. Could you show some mercy and put in a good word for me with Uncle Wang? Ask him to give me a few more days, or could you lend me some money to tide me over first? I promise I'll pay you back as soon as I get my paycheck." Listening to his fantastical words, I was practically laughing in frustration. Through the heavy security door, I stared at him coldly. "Mr. Zhang, I'll just ask you one question. Back when your home enjoyed a cozy 28 degrees, did you ever think about how mine was only 18? Now that winter has come for you, what does that have to do with me?" My words were like a sharp knife, piercing through his last shred of hypocritical hope. His face instantly turned crimson, as if he had been stripped naked in public. He opened his mouth but couldn't utter a single word, ultimately turning away in embarrassment under my gaze. Watching his hunched back, seemingly weighed down by life, I felt not a shred of sympathy. I knew that showing mercy to such a person would be the greatest cruelty to myself. It wasn't long before news came that Lu Wan and Zhang Wei had officially divorced. This apartment, as their jointly owned marital property, had to be divided. The only solution was to sell the house and split the proceeds. This made Zhang Wei's situation even more difficult, to divide the property and also to repay Uncle Wang's debts. The house they had once taken pride in, even to the point of harming their neighbors' interests for it, had to be listed on a real estate website at a price far below market value, urgently sold at a low price. A seemingly prosperous middle-class family was thus completely torn apart and plunged into the abyss because of what appeared to be a minor act of greed. Zhang Wei's house was sold with unusual difficulty, due to a history of severe water leakage. The walls and floors bear marks that cannot be completely repaired, making this the house's biggest flaw. Coupled with his urgency to sell and pay off debts, the price was repeatedly lowered, yet it still attracted no buyers. The agent handling the property, in an effort to quickly close the deal and avoid future disputes, had no choice but to disclose all of Zhang Wei's past misdeeds in the neighborhood to every potential buyer who came to view the house. "This family has some character issues. To save on heating costs, they leached off the upstairs neighbors, only to end up freezing and bursting their own pipes, which then flooded the downstairs. This effectively discouraged the vast majority of potential buyers. No one wants such a person as their neighbor, let alone buy a problem house with such an unsavory history. Zhang Wei was utterly exhausted by the ordeal, looking as if he had aged 10 years in just 1 month. Meanwhile, Uncle Wang successfully received the full compensation through court enforcement. To express his gratitude, he specially brought a basket of imported fruits to my home, thanking me for my decisive action back then. Shaolin, I owe you big time this time. Uncle Wang sat on my sofa and said with emotion. Dealing with such scoundrels, you can't use gentlemanly methods. Either don't act at all, or when you do, you must hit where it hurts, making them never dare to offend again. I poured him a cup of tea, and we had a delightful conversation. At that moment, I felt that there were still good neighbors in this community. We just need to use the right approach to identify those worth associating with. Finally, after being on the market for 3 months, Zhang Wei's house was sold. He could only sell it at a price that was a full 300,000 lower than the market value to an investor who specialized in purchasing such problem properties for rental purposes. After receiving the payment for the house, he immediately repaid the court's enforcement fees and various other debts he had previously borrowed, then divided the remaining assets with Lu Wan. In the end, the money left in his hands wasn't even enough for the down payment on a small apartment in the city. On the day he moved out, a cold drizzle was falling. I looked down from the window and saw a shabby small truck parked downstairs. The movers carried down some water-damaged old furniture, haphazardly wrapped in plastic sheets. Zhang Wei stood alone in the rain without an umbrella, letting the cold rainwater soak his hair and clothes. A scene of utter desolation. I watched quietly for a while, then calmly drew the curtains. His life, his ending, none of it concerns me anymore. After Zhang Wei moved out, the downstairs remained quiet for a long time, until a month later, new neighbors moved in. They were a seemingly kind young couple with a little girl who had just started kindergarten. On the very first day they moved in, they took the initiative to visit all the neighbors upstairs and downstairs, including me. They brought fruits with them and were genuinely sincere and polite. We'll be neighbors from now on. Please look out for us. We'll definitely pay the property fees and heating bills on time. If there's anything we're not doing well, please don't hesitate to let us know. I smiled and accepted their fruit, feeling as if the last weight in my heart had finally lifted. My neighborhood life has at last returned to what it should be, peaceful, comfortable, undisturbed, yet still preserving the most basic kindness between people. Winter has come again. I paid the heating bill right away and turned the valve to the maximum. The whole house was as warm as spring. Wearing light loungewear and walking barefoot on the warm floor, I felt incredibly comfortable and free. Occasionally, I would think of Zhang Wei and his family, but the feeling was like recalling a dull black and white movie that had nothing to do with me. I realized that my seemingly ruthless counterattack back then wasn't out of pure malicious revenge. It was more like a necessary act of self-protection. To defend the boundaries of my personal life from being shamelessly violated and trampled upon. That night, I curled up on the sofa, scooping ice cream with a spoon. Outside the window, the north wind howls, while inside, warmth fills the air. I took a photo and posted it on my social media. In the picture are my legs, an ice cream, and a cozy corner of my living room. I captioned the photo with a line. The heating this winter is truly sweet. This WeChat moment was hidden from most. Visible only to a few mutual friends. I believe it will somehow find its way into Lu Wan's eyes, and right now, she might be squeezed into that small, chilly secondary bedroom at her parents' place with her child, worrying about their future livelihood and her son's school fees. I reclaimed the warmth that rightfully belonged to me, and they, because of their own greed, lost it forever. A year later, I was shopping at a mall downtown when I unexpectedly ran into Lu Wan. She looked much more haggard and older than she had a year ago, wearing an old coat with pilling fabric. She led her son through the sales section of a fast fashion brand, laboriously sorting through the merchandise. She saw me too. I was dressed in a tailored cashmere coat, wearing subtle yet refined makeup, carrying a luxury shopping bag filled with my recent purchases. The disparity between us was glaringly obvious. A flash of extremely complex emotions instantly crossed her eyes. There was jealousy, resentment, and even a hint of regret I couldn't comprehend. Our gazes met in the air for barely a second. Like a startled rabbit, she instinctively avoided my eyes, then grabbed her noisy son and hurried away almost as if fleeing in panic. I stood there, watching her flustered figure retreat, feeling neither the initial satisfaction nor anger in my heart. only a sense of unfamiliarity remained. Towards her, towards Zhang Wei. Towards all those things that had once filled me with unbearable frustration and rage, they had all completely become things of the past. That decisive counterattack seemed like a watershed moment in my life. Since then, my life has been getting better and better. My online design studio landed several major projects, doubling my income, through a friend's introduction. I also met a wonderful partner who respects my thoughts and admires my independence. I finally understood. Endless tolerance and retreat won't earn anyone's respect or gratitude. They only invite escalating bullying and demands. Only when you establish your boundaries and bare your teeth, defending your world with strength, can you achieve true peace and tranquility. I turned and walked out of the mall, settling into my warm and cozy car. The city's neon lights flashed by outside the window, a dazzling blur of colors. I drove the car, heading in the direction of home. That direction was warm and incredibly bright. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.